everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the Financial Freedom Podcast. And I'm really happy to have Lakshman over. And so, to just first give you like a very brief background about Lakshman, he's a really cool person who is living a really chill life. And he's also started India's first vegan hostel. And thank you so much, Lakshman, for joining me.
Thanks, Vishnu. Happy to be here.
So, yeah, first off, can we start off with a small introduction about you? Like, what's your background? Were you like born chilling in life? Like, as a baby, you just knew how to like ace it? And how did you get to where you are? First of all, where are you?
Okay, so I'm in Bangalore right now at the Animal Hostel slash the Happiness Cafe, and this is something that I've set up. We've been setting up for the last 2.5 years. So the hostel has been running for 2.5 years. The cafe has been open for a month now, and the goal is to set up a sort of unit that can give back to society, help us live our lives in a free and happy way, and benefit others and the planet all at the same time. So the motivation was to kind of get the maximum positive outcome with the least amount of input or the least amount of damage to the planet. So that was kind of the model that we were thinking of. And there was a vision in our mind. We weren't sure if it would actually work because it was quite different to the standard way of operating these things. But yeah, it's worked out really well. And of course, it wasn't always like this. For the first maybe 21 years in my life, I was taking quite a lot of tension. So it wasn't like maybe from the age of 0 to 6, everything was fine. Then post 6, I joined the schooling system, and I think the first 2 grades were fine. Then from grade 3 onwards, things started to go downhill. I think grade 8, 9, 10 were when I found it quite hard. And then beyond that, it was like extremely difficult. And by the age of 21, I really didn't want to study in India anymore. So I'd kind of given up on that. And after that, I moved to Denmark, where I studied architecture and construction. And I enjoyed that experience much more. Yeah, so that was a much better experience. And yeah, overall, I would say that's when the whole journey started.
Okay. So till age 21, so that was like the end of schooling, and you did some college also in India?
Yes, I studied environmental science over here.
Okay. And then you went off to Denmark,
Yes, that's right.
study your architecture. Right.
Yes, that's right.
So why did you ever have like a regular job that people kind of like, normally get after they do their education?
No, I mean, I did do an internship. So this was in Germany, in
Mm-hmm.
Hamburg at the time. And I did do an
Okay.
internship and I got a feel of what German work life was. And I did really vibe with it now with the people. Like, it was a nice environment. Like, it was like definitely interesting things were being done. I put myself in a fairly good position. But overall, it was not something that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically where it happened. And after that, there were like definitely two routes there. One was going towards a very mainstream kind of job and life, and one was something totally different. And I chose something that was like not a very popular decision at the time. Me coming back to India, trying to build something of my own here. So at the time, that was like a big shock to me and everyone else. But yeah, things worked out just the same.
Okay. So how did you end up making that decision to not go the regular path? Because usually when I talk to people, I see that this is one huge bottleneck that they have is like something kind of like even if they don't want to do it, something kind of holds them back and they feel like, no, I must continue in this path. Just I have to like push through. How is it that you manage to kind of leave that without ever even just maybe just like with just one internship you figured it out and you're fast.
So I think it's kind of like I've always been suspicious of the overall system. Like right from a young age, I was very naive as a kid, I would say, like looking from this perspective. I just thought that it was just plain inefficiency that was holding the system back. And even as a kid, I could see ways that we could improve the overall system, make things more efficient, better. And I was like, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to fix a lot of the things that I felt like I could fix. I'm going to be this inventor, creator, doer of sorts, and I'm going to like fix the system. And then now as an adult, I realized that the system is kind of engineered in a way to be dumb, inefficient, keep people dumb, etc., limit potential, all of that sort of stuff.
Mm.
So, like now I have quite a different perspective. But if you're asking me why I chose a different path, I got the courage from somewhere, I would say. There was many conversations, many interactions, many people who I met that kind of made me feel that I could sort of handle things by myself. I didn't have that confidence before that. Like there were times in my life where I did have money, didn't have money, and it was sort of fluctuating. But that sort of that confidence of doing things by myself never existed. And I think it was actually after meeting you in Goa, I think in 2018, that I really felt like, yeah, I can raise money and open this hostel and run it and create a community and sort of like create something on my own terms, because before that it was just like, yeah, you have to find a way to work for money and then you can, use that cash in an interesting way. But I never really thought I could create something from the ground up that could sustain my whole life. So,
Mm.
yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vishnu.
So sweet of you, man. So, so see, what I understand is right now you're living the dream for many people in a sense that you have a lot of free time. You're doing what you really like to do. And so maybe could you give a little bit of a snapshot into your life? Like what does like a day in Lakshman's life look like?
So currently I'm in work mode. So I
Okay.
think in the last month and 10 days, I've worked more than I've worked in the last many, many years put together.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I handle the counter at the cafe, which means that I take orders, I pass them on to the kitchen, and I sort of like carry on conversations. So I'm like a professional conversationalist. People come to me with problems, thoughts, worries. Just they just want to chat. So I handle the counter, and Vanessa handles the kitchen and everything else. And we have a few staff now. So right now there's a guy handling the counter, and Vanessa is inside. And later on in the evening, there's another person who comes in. So basically, my day started at 7:30. I woke up. I go to the gym at 8 to 9. I was there. I came back at like 9:15. Then I just chilled, freshen up a bit, and then at like 10:15, 10:20, I was here. The cafe opens at 10, and Mukul was here from 10 onwards. So yeah, so and basically from now it goes on till 8 p.m. And that's when we get done and then clean up. And it really depends on the day. Like some days are like crazy busy with like tons and tons and tons of orders. Some rainy days like today, we're not expecting that many people, so it's going to be relatively more chill. But on the crazy days, it's really crazy. Like with 25 groups coming in, full hostel with 30 people, there's always something to do. And I enjoy being here. Like I think that's the key. Like if you can find yourself at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. at night, after like 12 hours of working, still feeling fresh and happy, I think you're doing something right. Like, of course, the tiredness is always going to be there. Like, if you work for 10 or 12 hours, you're going to feel tired at the end of the day, get a good night's sleep. But if you feel happy about the job you're doing and still continue doing it, the ability to sustain, I think that shows me that this is probably the ideal job for me in this sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yes.
So, also over the last few years, you've sort of been able to build up a community, right? Uh, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like, how did that happen? What was the thought process, and a bit about the journey?
Yeah. So the community that we've created is called Be Animal,
Mm-hmm.
and Be Animal was originally an idea that just sort of sprung up when I first turned vegan about 5 years ago, And the
Mhm.
goal was just to kind of inform people, because like of course we realize that we can't tell people what to do or how to live their lives, but we're sort of living in this world where information itself is just not that accessible. Like, I mean, all the information is out there, but it's just not sort of packaged or like produced in a way that people can inculcate it. So there's a lot of bullshit floating around, and we thought we would put our perspectives out there, our viewpoints, and facts about many other things, uh, both animal rights related as well as just general sustainability related. So that's kind of how it started. And then we saw that there was like this kind of group forming around us, and we wanted to do more of it. So we had a very hazy idea of what we wanted to do, but it was something along these lines, go to schools, run workshops, talk about permaculture, talking about living with the land, talk about our connection with nature, then bring in the vegan aspect and sort of get people's brains turning. I felt like if I had received some information like that when I was 14, I think I would have gone in this path a lot earlier, or it would have like changed more in my life maybe. So that was the original plan, but then somehow it morphed into sort of a different idea wherein we have this hostel, and through the hostel we connect with hundreds of people every month, and through the cafe we connect with even more people, and we have workshops and we have other things going on here. We have cacao ceremonies, we have a Sunday brunch club, and it's a very like one-on-one community. So it's not like an online space, it's also online, but it's mostly offline, where people have a place to hang out, they feel connected to the space, they feel connected to us, and they make other friends, other connections within this community. And the strength is not only derived from us, but just from each other. So I think that's the beauty of it, like we've been running it a while and we've seen all the beautiful things happen, and it's
Mm.
pretty incredible.
Wow, man, quite nice. Yeah, I mean, it's a really amazing thing that you guys are doing, because like full power, man. Like, I really bless you from the bottom of my heart, It's like, because have a transformational effect on the world, man, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, so next thing that I would want to ask you is like, say a bit more about your business journey of sorts,
Hmm.
because yeah, like at least in my experience, like when I was working in say a corporate job and stuff, I felt like this was something that was like sucking the life out of my soul, truly.
Right.
Right. And after I quit that and I started doing what I really wanted to do in life, that's when
Hmm.
I could feel like, I'm actually being nourished and I'm growing as a being and things like that. Right.
Right.
But it can be quite a challenging journey, especially like to start with. But and even after you begin, there are many things that we need to figure out because these are not really taught to us. Because in fact, I would say when we go to school, the opposite is taught. Obey, just listen, like regurgitate whatever has been told to you, like and things like that. And which is what sort of also happens when you go for like a regular job, like you have a manager who tells you
Um,
precisely what to do.
right.
But
Right. Right.
on the other hand, when you're doing your own business, you have to pretty much figure out everything. Like you can't just be like, okay, this is my department and I'm just going to do this and I don't care about anything else. Right.
Yeah.
So maybe tell me a bit about your journey and what are the things that you did not know when you started as compared to all the things that you figured out now, things which at that time were just not even existent in your mind, but now they're like, okay, like if somebody is starting out, these are all the things that they need to consider, right? So just like tell me a bit about your business journey in that sense.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I don't come from a business family, so there was a lot of like sort of negative talk about business people and doing business in general. It was kind of like not really looked down upon, but it was just seen as like a dirty line of work where you can't really keep to your high ethics, or you'll have to make compromises at some point, something to that extent. And that's not the opinion that I felt. Like I was always attracted towards entrepreneurship or building something on my own. It was just like there was no roadmap. Like none of the people in my family were doing business, setting up anything of value. So it was very hard for me to kind of figure out what I should do. Um, After we started, there was always this feeling that, oh, it's like there was a feeling that like all these people in jobs, They were like these serious people doing serious things that were hard to do, and like all this marketing thing and like just figuring out basic stuff. It was hard, or we needed other people's help, and there was that kind of feeling that like, oh, I don't know how to do this stuff by myself. That was like a kind of feeling from the beginning. But then as the journey went on, we realized that everything that we need to do, we can do better ourselves, and there was really nothing that we couldn't do. You know, so I think it's really about pacing and accepting things as they come. So like only do things in a capacity or speed where you can continue to do it for a long time, because that's really where um, the the difference happens. Because if you're like too fast or push too hard, you will burn out.
Mm.
You have to like pace yourself, and you have to be realistic when you're expecting things. Like I found a lot of, at least for me, there's a lot of solace in spreadsheets and numbers and kind of knowing what's happening. And I think during the pandemic, that was the hardest issue, where it was just like month on month, where it was just like a big question mark at the end. That really pulled my motivation down, got me thinking about a lot of things, and just generally made the whole trip a bit harder. But I think there was just that kind of confidence in taking the time, waiting, accepting things as they come, which really paid off now, because at least we're still open, whereas so many businesses have shut down. So that's one thing. Um, Business wise, yeah, I do feel like every task can be done by you and probably should be done by you. Stuff like marketing, like in terms of paid ads, like we've had like some success with paid ads. We haven't done a huge amount of that stuff, but it has helped us. Definitely, we need to like turn the key on. It helps from time to time, and just doing things in a really good way. It's like in a way that we would be proud of. We do it, and we don't think about like how it could have been, or could we have done this better. We just do things to the best of our ability, and we just let it be, basically. So that's kind of the some like key points of the journey, and I think you can apply these to any business. Like right now, we're helping another girl set up a cacao festival. So it's going to
Mhm.
be India's first craft chocolate festival. Like India is a fairly big chocolate producer, but hardly any people here know or appreciate good chocolate. So this is going to be a festival where basically cacao manufacturers, farmers, they all come together and showcase their products to the general public, fancy auntie crowd of Bangalore. So, I mean, she is not really prepared for this. And for us, it's just like step by step, everything is already laid out in our head. Like you do this, you do this, you do this, and it's done. And that's how you pull off a festival for 3,000 people. So I think that's the kind of confidence that actually running something has brought us. Like it's a very clear, cold understanding of what works, what doesn't work, and how to get things done.
Wow, awesome, man. So also I've seen sometimes when I was in Bangalore, like, there would be some people who are planning to start a vegan business, and I've seen sometimes people have come to you for just advice in general,
Yeah.
because you have successfully started a vegan business and you've been running for a couple of years now. And so what are some of the like common mistakes that you see that people do when they're planning to like start their own business?
One main thing is that people don't have a clue what they're getting into. Um, it's just like a certain understanding of the market, of themselves, of how things work, and I think that they think it's going to be. I don't know what they think actually. I don't think that they've thought their idea through before they start. A few
Mhm.
people have, most people don't.
Mhm.
And I've seen so many businesses open and close like right in front of my eyes, and I just wonder, what is this for? Like you've built this place, you've brought in all this furniture, you've done some dishes, and then like 8 months later, a year later, you're already closing, selling off everything, and it's happened so many times right in front of me that I wish people would just sort of think it through or collaborate with other people who actually know what they're doing, so that no effort is wasted. Like just like we wouldn't want food to be wasted, I would also not want effort or potential or furniture or anything like of anything of value to be wasted, and I just see so many people doing a lot of stupid stuff,
Mm,
and just not getting any kind of potential value out of it.
mm,
So, some people we just plain straight up told them that it's a bad idea. Like, don't start it if you don't know what you're getting into. Um,
mm,
for others, like we try and help out in whatever way I can. Like my forte is like the 1 minute business plan on Excel, and like, it really does take a minute to like sort of sketch out how a business would work, like pull a few projections and just sort of give them an idea of how many products or how many customers they would need to actually make something float. So I've done that for a few people, and I think it's helped a lot. And just kind of giving clarity. For me, it's like the simplest thing in the world. For others, it seems to be rocket science. So yeah, it's like a bit of both,
mm. Oh, nice, man. So, if there are any vegan people who are planning to start like a vegan business and they want to like reach out to you and just get your suggestions and inputs, how can they reach you?
Instagram or WhatsApp is the easiest way. On
Okay.
Instagram, we are called Be Animal underscore Journey or The Happiness Cafe. But
Okay.
my number is also available on Google. So if you just search for Be Animal, you'll find my number. And if you reach out through a message or something like that, I would be happy to help. And yeah, I mean, we're just generally here for everyone. No, like at the cafe in life, we're
Mm-hmm.
here for others. There's no real other purpose to what we're doing here. There's like we've created this community. As long as I'm in Bangalore, as long as I'm facing customers, I just want to be kept occupied. So if there's anything I can do to kind of
Mm.
let that plane pass.
It's okay. It doesn't really seem to add so much sound in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's pretty loud on your end.
Yeah, I mean, basically, so what I was saying is that as long as I'm here, I would just kind of like to make things happen, and that's my primary purpose.
Hmm. Sweet, man. So, just probably one last thing that I would want to ask you, it's like, say, like if you had to give some suggestion to students, for example, it's like, because personally for me, I feel that there's like, since you were talking about the concept of like wasted potential and energy,
Yeah,
like personally I see that people end up spending a lot of time, energy, money on things which I think are actually not very fruitful. In fact, I think they're kind of counterproductive. Right.
yeah,
So if there's someone who's like say 14, 15-year old, who's watching this, what sort of advice would you give them so that they can like save themselves a lot of like wasted energy and effort and probably get like much better results in their life? So what would you suggest to such people?
yeah. One thing would be sort of don't dwell on the past. If like
Hmm.
some nasty or not nasty stuff has happened, like don't let it hold you down. You can start with a fresh slate whenever you want. Like even if you're say not performing well at school, doesn't mean you're not going to perform well in life. So I think that's step one. Like a lot of the worst kids at school are probably going to do the best out of school. Step two is, I think, knowing exactly what you want or what you're good at. So that kind of let that laser focus guide you from a young age into adulthood, so that you can really pick the skills that you need and learn those specifically. If there's a mentor or a course or something that can teach you exactly what you need to know, you can do that. And then surround yourself by people who are optimistic and positive about your outcome in life, because generally families are not a great benchmark for sort of guiding people. Like some of the best people I know have the families that are the nastiest and sort of very unsupportive, and it's like you cannot even say how many years these people have been kept back, or maybe they never fulfill their life's purpose at all. And it's just because there are people around them telling them things that are not very supportive. So I think removing yourself, like if you're an adult or like once you hit 18, to just kind of remove yourself from that kind of energy, put yourself in a place where people are more supportive, maybe somewhere outside the house, and then pursue your dreams. And again, slow and steady, I think, makes the biggest difference. Like, try not to rush. Like, there is no finish line for this race, and it's not a race in the first place. It's just about using your skills or using your brain in the best or most fun way.
All right. Actually, I have like one more question.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd say that's the last one, but yeah. So I just realized. So as a business owner, since you were talking
Yeah.
about skills, right?
Yeah.
What kind of skill do you really look forward to, like, in people, so that you would be like, wow, I would really like to collaborate with this person? So, like, the nature of my question is essentially that, since if we say, if you talk about like a 14, 15-year-old or even an 18-year-old who
Yeah.
is just looking to, develop some skills, right?
Yeah.
And people develop different kinds of skills, and like, what kind of skills do you value the most in people that you would like to like add to your team?
Right. I mean, while hiring, what we look for the most is like sort of a no bullshit, ready to work kind of attitude. Like, that's
Mhm.
something that's super important for us. In a way that, like, people don't have any hang-ups about doing different kinds of jobs, or if something needs to be cleaned or something needs to be fixed, that they're ready to pop into any role. Like, we always look for people who, um, like, at least the say the most of the employees who are hiring recently, we're looking for people with great conversational skills who can deal with people, who have a brain of their own, who can make decisions on the go. That's something that's super important for us. And we are looking for people who don't have many hangups and who have other hobbies and can kind of manage their lives in a good way. So that's like a big key, that they are not going to sit bored when they're left alone. They'll always find something interesting to do. But when they work, they can work efficiently. And the our line of work, it's not like there's more work that piles on once you do your job well. You basically do your job well once and it's done, and then you can chill until more work comes your way. So we look for people who thrive in that kind of environment and who really kind of work well there. So that's one major thing. Yeah, but in terms of collaborations, when we look at other businesses, other brands, we're collaborating a lot less than we were before. More so because we're just kind of a bit busy in our own lives, like we're doing our own thing right now. We look again for like no bullshit kind of people where things will run smoothly. Like, you don't want, like, we try and keep things simple. We're open to saying no to things that don't really suit us, and we look for the same in the other people as well. Like, just sort of not really enjoying uh, dealing with bullshit people anymore. So
Mm.
that's something.
And how easy is it for you to come across these skills in people that you meet?
Sorry. Hey, hi Vishnu, continue.
Yeah, so I was saying, like, you mentioned a few skills that are valuable to you. Now, how
Right.
easy is it for you to like come across these skills in people when you're like just trying to like get someone new into your team?
It's very hard. It's extreme. Like, these skills, even though they sound basic, are extremely rare. And out of say 30 people interviewed or 30 people who applied for a job, maybe one or two will be suitable. And even then, there's still a lot of molding and other work that has to be done. It's a fairly long process before you really find a good click.
Hmm.
But it's again something that we're working on, like the whole hiring, building a team. How do you get a project off the ground? And then after that, how do you choose how much you want to scale and um, how much you want to take on your plate? Because that's also something, like, people have been asking us, why don't you open another hostel? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And again, it's a question of where do you want to be and how much tension do you want to take? Because of course, if you build a big enough team, you could handle 10 or 15 hostels without breaking your head. But it will take you 5 or 6 years of work to build an organization to that size. And then when stuff doesn't go so well, you will have so many staff and so many properties to worry about, look after. And it's just not something that I look forward to. Like, I have this one place, we can run it well. We can make sure that it's clean, well organized to the best of our ability. And it's bringing in enough money to kind of make things work. And that's what we look for, and if we can do this for 10 years or 15 years or longer, things will be great. So we're looking for incremental growth. We're looking for good people to work with. We're looking for a calm work environment that sort of suits us. So these are some things that I look for when planning.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Thank you for joining and thank you for sharing all of these wonderful insights. I hope
Yes.
the people who listen to it find at least some of them useful. Yeah.
Yep.
And I will definitely put in some links in the description below so that people, whoever wants to like connect with you, they can probably, whoever is in Bangalore, if they want to like meet you in person or connect with you, they definitely can do that. Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, man, thank you so much for joining and have a wonderful day ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Vishnu. Thanks a lot. It was great talking to you.
Great talking to you, man. All right.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye bye.